Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Conversations with Davina. April is Financial Literacy Month, making it the perfect time to talk about one of the most crucial skills for success. And guess what? It's understanding money is so important. On today's episode of Conversations with Davina, Becoming an Overcomer, we're going to dive into financial literacy for college students and parents with the incredible Dr. LaKeisha Lowe, also known as Dr. LL. As a seasoned financial coach and educator, Dr. Lowe has helped individuals at all levels gain the knowledge and confidence to take control of their finances. With her expertise in investments, financial education, and test preparation for industry exams like the SIE and Series 7, she knows exactly what it takes to build a secure financial future. Whether you're a college student trying to manage tuition and credit cards, or a parent looking for support for your child while securing your own financial stability, this conversation is for you because it is packed with essential insights. So get ready to learn the ins and outs of financial literacy and take charge of your financial future. So everyone, please welcome Dr. Lowe to the show. Hello, Dr. Lowe. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you.
Hey, Davina, I am so thrilled to have a conversation with you, especially for financial literacy. Financial literacy has become a month. I always get so excited when April comes because I tell people it's financial literacy month. People be like, okay. But I was like, I want you to know.
Yes, yes, I agree with you. It's so important. And I'm so glad that they have this month to actually highlight the importance of, really tackling your finances. And you know best. So I'll let you kind of dive in a little bit more. But before we dive in with all the goodies, can you please share a little bit about yourself so the audience can get to know you?
Well, as stated, my name is Dr. LaKeisha Lowe, aka Dr. LL, and I'm a financial coach and educator. And as far as my journey to getting there, it's not the traditional route as most people would take, but it has come where it has been beneficial. Because as far as I was an English major, undergrad in public administration, and then went on got a PhD in nonprofit management. But I still had that interest and just that curiosity about financial literacy. Oftentimes I would watch YouTube University and even talk with some financial advisors when I was trying to. And then finally the bug hit. I said, well, let me become a financial advisor myself. And so I had the opportunity to become a financial advisor. I took all the industry exams, and I'm gonna just be honest because life happens. And so 2020 hit, we had COVID. I was a financial advisor, but God set it up where I got all my industry exams, but God set it up because of COVID. I didn't stay in that arena as a financial advisor. Instead, God allowed me to use my skills where then I began working with university students as an lecturer teaching investments. And then that is when the light bulb clicked. When I was watching YouTube channels, and I'm seeing all these people who claim to be financial gurus. And I said, hold on. They claim to be financial gurus, but they haven't even taken industry exams. They're just going off of what they've done themselves. And so I said, you know what? Since I have taken the exams and work as a financial advisor, let me establish the platform. And so that's when I pivot. That's why I call my business Pivotal Solutions Management. And I set it up to offer financial coaching services to people who don't have access to the traditional university or college setting.
That's beautiful. I just love how interesting your journey is. But like you said, God lined it up to be where you are, to not only, you learn so much going through your journey, but now you have the opportunity to help so many people to be successful and to gain the skills that they need to live a secure life financially. So I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
As you're helping people, a lot of things when it comes to college students and parents, finances can be tough, it can be overwhelming, it can be stressful. And at A Caring Voice for You, we focus in on stress and making sure that college students and parents or anyone out there, if you're going through a tough time, you have support. But financial literacy is different. So I'm so glad to have you on. But why is financial literacy so important, you think, for college students and their parents, especially during Financial Literacy Month?
Davina, I'm glad you asked that question because I will be honest. I tell people all the time, I grew up where a strong emphasis was placed on go to school, get an education, get their degrees. That was emphasized to me because people actually they had the philosophy and the belief that getting a college degree would set you up to be secure financially with what they call a good job. Well, we know the climate we're living in. And even prior to this climate, it's not guaranteed that you will be able to get a good job just based off of your education background. So, because of the fact I do not discount anyone going to get a college degree because I have degrees out of the wazoo. But I tell my students that I work with, even college students, no matter what your college major is, I need for you to take an investment course. Because when you take an investment course, regardless if you're an art major, music major, English major, science major, whatever majors, money is going to come in the picture. And you're going to have to know how to manage it either professionally with your position or even personally in your household.
Wow, that is a good tip because often in college you have all these courses that you can take, but I've never heard of anyone saying specifically as a maybe an elective if you don't have that course on your track to take it to make sure it helps you to just manage money well. So that's an excellent tip that you just shared, and I hope a lot of college students as they're going through their courses that they take that investment course and do something about it to make sure that they're successful as they go along, not only in college, but in the future financially. That's awesome. I really like that tip.
And, and Davina, I want to add that a lot of universities still don't have it as a required elective.
Mhm.
So college students, I would say they would have to take the initiative themselves to take that extra course in investment.
Mhm.
Or even if their university or college doesn't offer it, find a resource, maybe a community college or a technical college, or even if it's not a college or university, find a reputable online platform, some resource that where they could get that knowledge. And that's the best time to do it because you're not having to deal with what's called being an adult. You can still learn.
Yes, adulting. Yes, adulting can be tough once you get there. I totally understand that. And that's a great idea to take it while you don't have as much stress as an adult on you. Because, life can be stressful just in general. But if you take the steps to be proactive with your finances, it can make a huge difference in your life. So, that brings me to another point. When you're in college, you're young, you're fresh out of high school, or later on down the line as you're in college, sometimes you don't know all the best choices and decisions that you should make for certain things that come at you, you know what I mean? But what would you think are some of the biggest financial mistakes that college students make, and what are some things that they can avoid, or how would you recommend that they avoid those mistakes as they're in college?
Well, I'm just thinking about my college days, and a lot of college students got excited about getting that refund check. And when
Yes.
getting the refund check, there's nothing wrong with getting excited about the refund check. But they would spend it, of course, you may need for living expenses, but a lot of times they would spend the refund check on just frivolous things. So one tip or advice I would suggest when you get the refund check or just any extra money, I encourage have a high yield savings account because I'm not saying you have to put your entire refund check in the high yield savings account, but put at least some of it because a high yield savings account, it will grow your money at least probably 10 to 12 times more than a traditional savings account because there are some high yield savings account that have they call interest rates of between 3 to even 5%, and they compound daily. So just imagine you're in college for 4 years and you may put in $25, $10, $15, $5 in your high yield savings account. All of that is going to add up within a year, 2 years, or even 4 years. So you have something. And the thing is, with a high yield savings account, you're not subject to stocks because a lot of people are nervous. They have reservations about investing in the stock market, but a high yield savings account still allows you your money to work a little bit harder. So that is a great way to start your investment journey, just with a high yield savings account to help establish you financially.
That's excellent. So I think that is an amazing tip that you just shared with college students because often, and I think that might still kind of be happening. I know, like you said, when you were in college, just when I was in college, a lot of, students, they would get refund checks and just spend it frivolously, like you shared. But making just a point to try to take some of the money that you may have and place it in an account like you just described to help gain and have it grow is a great way to not only invest, but to think about your future as well.
And Davina, may I add a second tip?
Absolutely.
The second tip for college students. I know that a lot of college students are focusing on getting a degree, but as far as being business minded, establish a side hustle. And that side hustle could be, if you're good in a subject, you could be an independent tutor and you can have flexibility on what hours you work. And people don't realize being a tutor, especially for college students, you could make a pretty good amount, 20, 25, 30, even maybe $50 an hour, depending on the subject you're teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So being an independent tutor, or even if you are wanting to go a step above, as far as establish a business. Because the thing is, yes, you're striving to get a job, but when you have a business while you're in school that's setting you up once you finish your college education, and even if you get a job, what I call a 9 to 5, you are diversifying your sources of income. Because we are in a state now, you cannot just rely upon one source of income.
Not at all. That's an excellent tip as well. And there are some small business ideas and things that college students can do while they are in college that can make a great amount of money that they can use for their living expenses or whatever they may need it for. So that's an excellent idea. I know a lot of people automatically think, just go get a job. A job is great and it does help, but to think out of the box a little bit, start your own small business to help you with finances as well. Excellent. So, there are so many college students who I know when I was in college, there was a table set up in our student union where there's a lot of people offering credit cards and, so many different things to students. And credit cards can be helpful and then sometimes they can be harmful. What should college students know before getting their first credit card, or should they even consider getting credit cards while in college?
One thing I want college students to know in regards to credit cards, it is you're borrowing money. It costs to use a credit card, and it's called APR or the APY. Please forgive me, the interest rate.
Yes.
So you have that. I just use an example. If you purchase something $100 and the interest rate for that credit card was 10%, then you're going to pay $10 extra on top of the $100 you initially spent. So that's $110. But just imagine there's some credit cards that have interest rates of 20%. So if you spent $100 using your credit card, that is $120. So I know a lot of college students don't think about it, say, oh, I could just swipe the credit card and then pay later. But it costs to use it. You're going to pay that extra interest rate to be able to use that credit card.
Absolutely. You
And
know, yeah, that's a good tip because, often people in general, you don't even have to be a college student. I think people in general, they don't think about that. And it's important to realize that, you're paying to use that actual cards. College students, and here are some tips. So before you get your first credit card, just realize, and if you have to use it, you have to use it, but realize you're going to pay to use that card. And just remember that. I know you talked about, refund checks, and many students rely on student loans to get through college. College is so expensive, and there's so many different things that you have to pay for, and the tuition's going up. So a lot of students do rely on student loans, private or federal loans. What are some smart strategies for borrowing and repaying them responsibly?
You touched upon student loans because I know that I did use student loans to fund my education. And in regards to it, when you are considering funding your education, if you have to use student loans, okay, I understand it, but still, just like credit cards, student loans, you're going to pay to be able to borrow that money. It costs to get student loans, and the interest, it compounds. So I want college students to know that when you are getting these student loans, you got to think down the road. Okay, how much do I anticipate earning with my career I'm pursuing? And then also, I call it reality check. Everyone has the dream job or the dream amount of money they're going to make, but you may not make that amount of money. So you got to think, okay, if I borrow this money, but I don't make the amount of money, could I still be good? I still have to live. And even if you're considering student loans, see if there's some other alternatives instead of if it gets to the point where you're funding your education primarily with student loans, look at maybe if there's another institution or college that is more affordable, that's within your budget, and that still aligns with your program, that you could attend, get the degree, take the course you need for some time. And then if you just want to go back to that institution to graduate, then after some time, see, you could transfer those credits back. Because now it doesn't make sense. You're going to an institution spending out $30,000 per year or dollars per year when you could have gotten the same education at a different institution and less money and less stress for you down the road.
Love that. Take electives or other beginning courses at another college and then transfer on over to the big college that you want to get that final degree from. Excellent tip. You can save a lot of money that way, and you're still going to have the degree from the college that you're wanting to graduate from, which I think that's a beautiful idea, and it's a great way to save money, especially when college is costing so much nowadays. So beautiful tip that you just shared. So, a huge thing is that parents often get wrapped in because, they want their children to go off to college and be successful. So, for parents supporting their college students and helping them financially, what are some strategies to help the parents balance helping their children without jeopardizing their own financial stability?
I would say set up a budget as far as for the parent and child to be on the same page, as far as letting the child know, okay, for each month, this is how much that you are allowed to use to cover your expenses. And as far as sit down, both parents and students become familiar with what expenses the child has, and then also the sources of income they would have to be able to cover those expenses. And then if the child has a moment where they end up overspending, then as far as the parent may have to have a heart-to-heart moment and just assess, okay, does the child still have food to eat? Does the child still have a roof over their head, clothes? They're fine. And then it may be one that moment where the parent has to let that child experience what it's like when they overspend.
Wow, budgeting is a great point. So budgeting can be, that's just a tough word in general, because some people are really good with budgeting and then some people are not that great with it. And it takes practice. Practice makes perfect. I don't think anyone will ever be perfect with budgeting, but you can come really close. So as a college student that's learning, budgeting is definitely a challenge, like I said, for so many people. And it's something that you just have to have rules about and stick to that, whatever you decide to that budget. What are some simple tips that you can share for managing expenses while in college or just in general about budgeting? Because I feel like as a college student and with parents, it's so tough to sometimes stick to that when we live in a society that is all about you see something, you get it. You want this, you just buy it. And, sometimes we have to kind of pull back from that mindset. So do you have any tips on what maybe college students can do to help with budgeting?
Yes, as far as the word budgeting is a taboo word. No one likes it. In regards to it, with budgeting, no, there is not just one way to budget. There are different ways in regards to budgeting. There may be some people like to, even though most of us use cards now or even apps or our phones to pay for things, but there is a thing called the cash envelope where you set aside where each expense you say, oh, I have this amount of money to cover this each expense you have, so you don't overspend. Or there are even methods called the zero cost where you get a certain amount and you just do basic math. You're subtracting all your expenses until you get down to zero. But there are just various ways that you could go about budgeting. But the key is when I like to work with people, I like to tell them, don't think of the word budgeting. First, just write down what all your expenses are. That's it. Just write down all your expenses, do a list. And then once you see that list of what all your expenses are, that's letting you know how, and I'm not saying to do it for a whole year, just a month, for 1 month. Because when you know how much you need each month, that drives you to say, hey, I know it drives me. You say, oh, this is how much I need each month to cover my expenses. So it's just the thing about it, banks make it so easy. I recently went on my bank website and they're telling me, this is how much you spend on these line items each month.
Wow. Excuse me. Wow. I didn't even realize that was happening. So that's really cool that banks are often just sharing that information with their clients immediately right on the websites. So that's something to look into, see if your bank is doing it, and just that may help you, as well as just like she said, writing a list of things of what you're spending and just see how much you need for the month to help you gain an understanding of the budget, or another term of how to manage your money well.
And let me add this, because I know college students, they like to eat. So one of the strategies I use, even though I'm no longer in college, when you go before you go grocery shopping, college students like to use app. Try to find the app for the store they go to, and they know what they want to get. Use the app before they go to the store and write down what they want to get, and the price for the item they want to get is on the app, so they know how much they're going to have to expect to spend before going.
Yes, that's an excellent tip. Sometimes when you go into the store, you walk around, things happen to fall into your cart that you didn't initially intend on purchasing before going to the store. So having a list of things or getting on that app is an excellent way to make sure that you spend your money according to what you need versus what you want, which is beautiful. A part of going to school, and especially as within college, often I think even adults now, everyone's going through this. There's so many financial scams out there. But as a college student, how can you spot and avoid those financial scams in regards to like student loans or that predatory lending? Are there any tips that you can share on what to look for or how to avoid some of those situations?
Yes. One tip is, if it sounds too good to be true, it is, but ask questions. Because I know a lot of my friends and family, they call me eyewitness news because I'm always asking questions.
Love it.
But when you ask questions, it gives you clarity. And if you have that something's not right, uneasiness, it's okay. You don't have to make a decision on the spot. If they're trying to pressure you, don't.
Yeah.
And as far as we have technology, when someone is sharing an offer, Google it.
Mm-hmm.
AI. Ask, okay, find some reviews or put in, is this a scam?
That's an excellent, excellent tip. Do your research. Do your research on the company, the offer, to make sure it's not a scam and to know if it's something that maybe you should go for or not, because there's so many things, and they're pretty good at the scams that you see. They're pretty good. And if you're not careful, you could easily fall into a trap. So do your research, make sure it's not too good to be true. And, definitely collaborate with other people to get a better understanding of the offer to help you, just weed out your emotions and some of those decision-making processes.
And I want to add, Davina, give yourself at least, I call it the 24 to 48 hour. Don't make a major decision immediately. Give yourself at least 24 to 48 hours. Because if it's something worthy, it'll still be there. You don't have to rush into anything.
Good point. That's a very good point. To wait, give yourself time to think and process. And often when you do that, you will come to the right conclusion. Thank you so much, Dr. Lowe, for joining us today. So if anyone wanted to get in touch with you to set up an appointment or just to learn more, how would they get in touch with you?
Yes, they can reach me via email at fin, lit, 365 at the THE. I'm going to repeat it one more time because I know people. FIN lit 365 at the THE pivotal PIVOT.
Thank you so much. So everyone, thank you so much for watching us today and for spending time with us learning about financial tips for Financial Literacy Month. And if you are stressed, overwhelmed, going through grief, life transitions, or anything else, and would like to contact a caring voice for you, please reach out to us at caringvoiceforyou.com. Schedule a time to meet, and we can go from there to see how we can support you. We also have a group on Facebook called Stress, Loneliness, Grief, and everything that you can join for free. Or if you would like to be a part of our support group, feel free to reach out to us at caringvoiceforyou.com to learn more. And until next time, everyone, take care.